720p is for scrubs, 1080p PC Master Race, that's where it's at. And so anyway, yes, we are here between PL and Don't Blame Us Please. PL not making an appearance so far in the group stage of the tournament. But they are playing their first game right here against Don't Blame Us Please, the Russian team. PL, of course, being the Polish team, and as you can see by the scoreboard at the top, their flags are clearly shown up there as well. PL team looking really strong, actually. They've got some really great players, and of course, the Don't Blame Us Please team, we've seen them in action already, and unfortunately, their first set of games was against Team Psy, where they ended up losing quite miserably in a 0-5 defeat, with Psy coming out of that victorious. Don't Let Us Please, though, hopefully not too discouraged and hopefully not had their morale broken after going up against Psy in week 1. But this is week 2. It's a whole new week. It's a whole new week. And there's a whole new set of games to be played this week as well, with PL versus Don't Blame Us Please being the first set of games that I will cover from week 2 of the group stage. So PL, Don't Blame Us Please, two pretty good teams, and teams that we've seen face up before in friendly 2v2 matches. I don't know if many of you guys remember, but a couple of weeks back I did cast Vic Winchester plus Vic DFS versus a couple of the PL guys. I think it was Zamziak and Remy. They had a little bit of a friendly 2v2 before the group stage of the tournament even started, and it kind of went quite badly for the Don't Blame Us Please team. PL did get a 2-0 victory against them in that little friendly match, and hopefully that's not a bad omen for the Don't Blame Us Please team in this set of games. But just putting that one out there as a little bit of context to these games, because it's nice to know the players' histories and, you know, the history between the teams, because that's kind of how you keep track of your rivalries and all of that stuff. Game number 1 then is going to be Land Nomad, and this of course will be the same setup as week 1 of the tournament as well. Week 1, obviously, week 1 to 5 of the group stage all have the same setup, with game 1 being Land Nomad, game 2 being Ancient Lake, game 3 being War is Coming map pack, game 4 being the Nomad map, and game 5 being the, point 5 being the best of 3 on Deathmatch. So we can expect some good stuff. The Nomad games, the Land Nomad games that we've seen so far this tournament have been very exciting and a lot of fun to watch. So I'm certainly hoping that these games deliver as well. And, well, people just getting up their TCs now, and we'll see where they are, see if any of them have any unfortunate locations or starting locations. So then, for Team Don't Blame Us Please, it's the very north of the map now. In the yellow, we have got Vic DFS. He's playing as the Britons. Just down to the south of him, in the sort of northwest-ish or the far west position, in the purple, we've got Vic Winchester. He's playing as the Mayans. Down to the south of Winchester, in the blue, we've got Kep 4 playing as the Saracens. And last but not least, over to the right of Kep, we've got Vic Warrior in the south of the map, in the red, playing as the Koreans for Don't Blame Us Please. These guys on the kind of left-hand side, the western side of the map. No one that seems to be having, or seems to have, a very bad start location, which is pretty good news for all the players involved. And for Team PL, a team that we've not seen play yet in War is Coming, but for the first time, over to the right, southeast, I guess, of the map, in the teal, we've got PL Jack K. Jack playing as the Mayans. To the right of him, just across the way on the other wood line over here, in the green, we've got PL Bitey Kablum? Or Bitty Kablum? I'm not sure. That's an unusual name. He's playing as the Saracens in the green there. To the right of him, once more, over in the kind of southeast of the map, in the orange, we've got PL Remy playing as the Britons, who is Remy X. And up to the northeast of the map, in the grey, we've got PL Zamziak. I can never say this guy's name properly, but I think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced. I probably said it completely wrong. Let me know in the chat if I have said that or butchered that horribly. He's playing as the Koreans in the grey up here. So yeah, looks kind of interesting. Obviously, both flanks, the yellow player and the grey player, DFS and Zamziak, are quite far apart, actually. The north of the map, very open in terms, there's not of players. There's not really many players up in the very north areas of the map. People seem to be quite squished down in the south, actually. And we might see some interesting play because of that. We might see just a team wall coming up here, though. And of course across here, and then sort of, PL walling themselves in. We might see some really early aggression. Who knows? Obviously, there's all to play for, but I kind of hope that we see some early team wall action here, because I do like games that tend to go on a little longer and kind of, have a little bit of oomph to them, not just over in 10 minutes, and that's that. So, having a look then at the bottom here, we've got Vic Warrior on the flank. He's up against PL Jack, who's the Mayans on the flank. The green player down here is the Saracens. So, we might see a little bit of feudal aggression, perhaps. We might not see towers, though, because there doesn't seem to be a really close stone to Warrior. His stone's on the other side of this tree line here. However, he might get tower rushed if these guys find his location. They've got back stone over here, so they could always take that, but it's always worth noting where those stone piles are, because we've seen quite a lot of tower rush action on Land Nomad before, and on the flank position it is always a danger. You never know what might be coming your way. So yeah, PL Jack and Bitey Cablum down here on the south, he's kind of, they're very close together, which makes me think that one of them might do some early aggression and one of them might fast castle, or they might wall up and they might both fast castle. That's always an option as well. The pocket players then, we've got the Saracens and the Mayans for the Don't Lame Us Please team. Of course, Saracens can do a nice fast castle, do a few knights, but of course not too many because they don't get that cavalier upgrade. They could support with camels perhaps. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And of course the Mayans in the flank will probably see castle out and some plumed archers, or there's always the option of the team wall and boom, which would lead to late Imperial action, and kind of a just boom up in the castle age and the sort of middle part of the game. We've also got the Britons here, though, as well. The Britons are a kind of an interesting addition. We've got Britons in the pocket position for the PL team. The Britons have a fantastic boom, just because they have that, just because they have that, what's it called, the cheaper TCs, they have that great sheep gathering bonus, which means they always get a nice start to the game, and of course those cheaper TCs allow them to boom much nicer as well, meaning they need less villagers gathering that stone and mostly the wood, saving them the wood, meaning that they can get those farms a little easier, and it's nice for the Brits to boom. Obviously, Brits on the flank at the top, but I mean, I don't know if you could really call this the flank. It technically is, but there's such a huge distance between DFS and Zamziak over on the right side that I kind of feel like rushing here is just not an option at all. Not to mention the fact that players generally are a lot more defensive in Land Nomad, simply because their town centres go up on their valuable resources as well. But the fact that we do have Britons in pocket, we could see some longbows coming out a little bit later on. We could see some cavalier coming out to support a little bit. Depends how it goes, really. Of course, in reality, against the Koreans, the Saracens, and the Mayans, it's probably better off going for longbows in this situation, simply because the firepower of the Saracens would just destroy a cavalry in an instant, and Britons, their archers are the best in the game, so they may as well go for it. It looks like the teal players are kind of discussing their strategy. I don't know if Jack is talking to Green here, maybe saying he should boom or what, but certainly a lot of food here for the PL team. They've got this deer patch right between the two town centres. They've both got at least 3 boar as well. I would say that is 3 boar, and of course all that extra food, all of that extra, all the extra meat that has, allows them to do a nice fast castle time. It looks like PL Jack might just be up to the feudal age now, or very soon at any rate. He's, there we go, clicking up this instant and taking 3 villagers onto the gold there. Maybe looking to fast castle this one. He's still got the boar, he's got a ton of sheep, and he's taking those deer as well. So perhaps we will see the fast castle from Jack here, and maybe Green will do that as well. But no real team walling coming up so far. And WiC Warrior going over to the front here to take the stone. Looks like we're going to see some towers from him. And, you know, that's really unexpected, actually. I did not expect to see that at all from him. He's having an absolute, you know, field day killing these sheep here, though. He's got like 5 sheep on the go at once. Really unusual to see that. But, hey, hey, a lot of meat there to be taken. He's a meat man. He's coming at the back here, though, with these villagers on the stone. So we might just see some forward towers. The question is, how effective will that be? And will he get support from the pocket players once they go up to the castle age as well? We'll see about that. Feudal age coming in for most players now, though. And, in fact, most players are everyone but DFS, I think, clicking up to the feudal age so far. Even DFS now just clicking up, but he will be the last one to click up there on 25 population. Also taking some stone quite early on, and that will probably be for his boom. He will be looking for some extra TCs, I'm sure of that. Now we have a quick look at the scouting information of each player. It doesn't look like the guys in the north have really found each other. If we have a look at DFS, I mean, he's scouted around with his sheep and all of that stuff, but he's not actually found his flank player. So he's probably assuming that he's quite far away, because if we have a look at his scouting, he's not, you know, he's looked a long way, and he's not bumped into anyone or anything like that just yet. So I think DFS probably going to feel fairly comfortable that he's not going to be up against someone on the flank. But he is building a barracks right now, which is a little bit concerning, because he might end up running his villagers into, well, nothing, because there is nothing here. He might end up running his army into nothing, because there's nothing here. And, well, Zamziak also sticking up a barracks as well. And, of course, this is the downside to not having a scout. Probably players just taking precaution at the very least, but it looks like Zamziak will go for the fast castle as he hits the feudal age in just a second, and, well, he's nearly got that 200 gold he needs for the castle age now as well. So feudal age coming in for pretty much everyone, but we want to watch warrior here, because the towers are going up already, really quickly getting those towers up, and Jack now putting up that defensive tower as well. He's done market blacksmith, so fast castle from the Mayan player, but he's moving on to that stone at the south, looking to take that tower down, and obviously to get more towers up in defense as well. I'm just looking quickly at the chat, because some people are talking about how to pronounce Zamziak. Some people saying Jimziak. Would it be Jimziak? Maybe it would. Maybe it would. Maybe the the DZ translates to a gym if if it's in. Oh, okay. Well, never mind. Apparently that is not correct. I don't know what to believe. I look at the chat for like a fraction of a second, see what I can see, and if someone's trolling me, it's probably going to work, because obviously I can't read up in the chat for about 10 minutes just to make sure that I'm not, doing the wrong or looking at the wrong thing. So anyway, DFS is putting up a couple of archery ranges, but he's also going up to the castle age now. He's got a little bit of stone. He's got a lot of gold income, though, which makes me think he's going to go for some castle age aggression with crossbows, perhaps, once he reaches the castle age. He's going to move out across the front very soon, but I think he might be better off just going up to 3 TCs here. Obviously the distance between these players is huge, and Zamziak is getting out a scout at the moment. He's going to scout out and about, so that he can find what's going on up here, because these guys must be thinking, hang on a minute, there's just nothing. And he's still looking around, he's still trying to find DFS, but he's still a little bit off the mark. He's still a little bit cold, getting a little bit warmer, but still quite cold, collecting up some sheep for good measure as well. Obviously in the south, we've got WiC Warrior still towering up, but those defensive towers from Jack seem to be keeping him away for now. And apparently Jamjack is the pronunciation. I don't know. Jamjack, it doesn't look like Jamjack to me. That definitely looks like Dziak to me. But hey, I know nothing about the Polish language, so Jamjack, there you go. I've been pronouncing it wrong for years. So WiC Warrior is still towering up here, but getting a little bit close to that town centre from PL Jack. We've got a Jam Jack, and we've got a Jack K as well. These guys, I bet they're all called Jack. I bet Bitty Cablum also means Jack as well somehow. But Vic Warrior losing a couple of villagers down here, and he's actually got a pretty low score because of this aggression. He's not really coming in with he's lost a couple of villagers. He's not really doing too much damage. He's preventing Jack from putting up farms around here, though, but Jack's still taking the deer for now, and of course he's denying that gold as well. I see a few dead bodies on the floor, so I think Jack probably losing the most so far out of this. If we look at that KD, then we can see that Vic Warrior killing 4, losing 1. So actually, in overall terms, this has been a very worthwhile investment. And I just heard a Wololo. Hello, Makushi. Good evening, guys and gals, he says, or she says, I don't know. But thank you, Makushi, for your donation, $3.74. Very much appreciated, man. And welcome to the stream. Now, players starting to reach the castle age now. We've got the Saracens putting out some knights. We've got some Britain knights coming out from Remy as well. Kept 4, though, seems to be really on the ball here. Getting those knights out very quickly, getting them right into the heart of the PL's base. And, you know, no team walls are out so far. Nobody's got a team wall yet. There's nothing of the like for the PL team. And we've got a tiny wall off from Vic Winchester in the north, but really, there's not a great deal of walling so far, and that makes a nice change from the usual. We've also got Jamjak, sorry, adding in some knights as well. Korean knights, not the best, but I mean, to be honest with you, none of these civs are really knight civs. Saracens, definitely not really a knight civ. Britain's not really a knight civ. Koreans, not really a knight civ either. We've got DFS coming in with some crossbows in the north, of course, taking advantage of that extra range that the Britons get. Those Briton archers just too funky, too good. Kept 4, adding in some camels as well and looking to do some raiding here. Remy getting him into range of his TC and hammering home with those arrows. Nicely done by him. And we've even got Jamjak adding in a siege workshop in the north now. But the aggression really going to get going very soon. And hey, Cynical Razor, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for becoming a Wololo Warlord. We have more Wololo Warlords in the house, which is fantastic, because tonight we are doing the Wololo Warlord only prize draw, which is for a thermal take headset. So make sure if you are a subscriber, you are a Wololo Warlord, that you get entered into that competition. Information is below the stream, but you have to click on the link by clicking the picture of the thermal take headset in order to be able to enter. PL Jack building a defensive castle here, but he's going to be able to push those towers down as a result, and he will be able to start getting out some plumed archers as well. The other Mayan player, Winchester, is just booming up at the moment. No castles from him, so to speak of, and nothing in sight, nothing on the way by the looks of it either. He's not taking much stone, or if any, at this point in time. So Winchester here just going to go with a pretty big boom. Those 4 TCs already up and running, and 4 TC boom, you know he means business when there's 4 TCs in the castle age for him. Obviously, Jack then forced to build this castle. You know, he might have been going for the castle anyway here, but because he's building that castle now, or he has built that castle even, it does mean that he will be making plumed archers earlier, which could mean it's pretty bad news for Vic Warrior if he gets raided by plumed archers. But at the same time, it does mean that PL Jack's boom is severely stinted because of this. He's only just getting up his second town centre now, and he doesn't quite have... Oh no, he does. He just has enough resources for the third, but it is very delayed when you consider that Winchester already has his 4 out on the map. DFS so far, not really killing or doing a whole lot of damage. Lost 7 units so far, though, and I can only assume that they would be some crossbows inside of Jamjack's base. Jamjack with 6 kills already on the map. On the board. We've got a little bit more aggression coming in with the knights at the south, but not really anything all out, not really some, you know, huge aggression that would be, you know, really difficult to deal with. Those knights from Cap 4 seem to be trailing off a little bit. He's got the you know, the odd knight here and there, but I think he's got to be very careful on this right flank, because there are those plumed archers coming out now. There's the knights from Remy as well, and of course he really cannot afford to be pushed back into Vic Warrior's base here, because Vic Warrior is not castled yet, though he has clicked up, and of course if he gets plumed archers in his base, he has no answer to that at the moment, and that's kind of a bad thing to have to deal with. Vic Warrior as well at the moment only got enough resources for one new town centre, and there's this plumed archers just going to go straight over to his mill here, get a couple of villager kills for free, and I think he's going to get revenge now on Vic Warrior for the damage that Vic Warrior did to him earlier on. Now, of course, he killed about 5 villagers from PL Jack. PL Jack just killing 4 villagers so far. So that still leaves Vic Warrior ahead, and perhaps definitely threw a spanner in the works of his plan there. So the team wall is pretty much up now for the Don't Lame Us Please team. Those knights in the back there from Jamjack going to get taken down pretty quickly by DFS's archers, or his crossbows now even. And those villagers going to run back to the TC, but Jamjack not going to be able to pick off any more villagers with those crossbows standing by. However, the team wall, like I say, pretty much nearly there now for the Don't Lame Us Please team. They've got the wall all the way up in the center of the map, going pretty much diagonally downwards. Vic Warrior now up to the castle age though, and I'd still be a little bit scared, a little bit cautious on this right side, because PL Jack with quite a few plumed archers out now, those knights coming in as well, and of course Kep 4, not really a great deal of army here, just a few camels and knights. But they're all looking pretty ropey, looking pretty weak at the moment, and they don't have bloodlines, they don't have any more than +1 defense, so the plumed archers probably going to make pretty short work of them if they get onto this hill and fight with the knights of Remy. I'd be pretty worried about that if I were Kep. Siege Workshop coming up though for Warrior, Vic Warrior, and potentially going to get a mangonel out just to deal with these plumed archers on the hill. But this high aggression from the PL team, probably a good thing for them actually, is that the red player here is looking very on the edge, so to speak. The team wall here from Kep 4 actually blocking the red player out, and Warrior now moving around to the back to take a TC here, but it's a little bit risky in his position, and it could be bad news very soon if they're not careful. Jamjack getting a few nice mangonel shots out. Remy here as well, and DFS so far killed 7 units but lost 21. He is losing a hell of a lot to those mangonels. He's not really done a great deal of aggression on this top right side either, with Jamjack reacting very quickly with mangonels. Obviously mangonel's now out for Warrior here, and Warrior's got to be very careful not to lose his mangonel to the knights of Remy, but Remy's looking pretty weak there as well, with all of those knights very low due to the camels from Kep 4 putting in a ton of damage there. Of course, now he's just got to move into range of those plumed archers and try and get a nice mangonel shot. Of course, the Korean mangonels, a little bit of extra range there for him. 8 range versus the 6 of the plumed archers on these, from these plumed archers even. Meaning that, to be honest, he got a pretty good shot of landing a nice shot on that group of archers there. We'll see if he manages to pull it off. Of course, Jack knows of the mangonel now, and Warrior can just sit on that hill and defend for now by the looks of it. Now I think Imperial Age upgrade is very close for a couple of players. Winchester is already up. We kind of missed that. Bitey Kablan or Bitty Kablan also up to the Imperial Age. That's a really nice time. I mean, he's playing as the Saracens here, and he's, you know, up to the Imperial Age in 32 minutes almost. Really impressive. Very good Imperial Age time. They're obviously missing a couple of eco upgrades perhaps, so that he could increase his speed there, but getting those in now as well. And so many resources in the bank for him. He could afford to go Imperial again right now, and he's literally only 70% up to the Imperial Age, which is, you know, really impressive play by him. Now in the middle of the map, we've got Winchester moving out. Winchester's already up to the Imperial Age now, and this is really good for the Don't Lame Us Please team. DFS actually sending a little bit of a sling to him at the moment. The Britain player here booming up in the north and slinging. DFS feeling like perhaps he couldn't do all that much with his crossbows there. Forward Siege Workshops from Winchester, Mine Elite Eagles done, and of course he'll probably be looking for that unique technology as well, so that he can add the extra health to these Eagles, but he doesn't actually have, Winchester doesn't actually have a castle yet, so the most he's going to get on these is +4/+4, but they're going to be stuck at 60 health until he can get a castle and then get them up to 100, but he's pushing into this flank position. And Jamjack trying to put up these castles now to help defend. The castles only have fletching though, so they're not putting out quite as much damage as they could. And I thought for a minute there was going to be a hole here, but no, there is no hole this time. However, there is a pretty big hole in Jamjack's walls, as he pretty much doesn't actually have a wall. And these not plumed archers, these eagle warriors, going to get in there and cause havoc. I can assure you, quite a lot of mangonels in the south from WiC Warrior as well, actually, and PL Jack actually losing that town center there. We kind of missed that whilst we were watching Winchester in the north, but yeah, that TC is going to go down, and these guys are desperately trying to wall it up, but the elite eagles are in, and that means that the back of Remy's base is now wide open as well, and those eagles, I guarantee, are going to be everywhere very soon, causing a lot of trouble and a lot of pain, a lot of hurt into these guys' economy. There they go, into the back of the Britain's eco there. And we're not really seeing a whole lot of military from the Britain player yet. He's desperately trying to wall up for now. And we've got the Saracen player up to the Imperial Age now as well. So the Saracen player here obviously going for, well, he could actually be going for, let's have a quick check, where is he, Bitey Cablum, he could be going for hand cannons, that's what I was thinking. I saw that chemistry research done on that mangonel there, and he's actually going straight to hand cannons, which is an interesting decision. But if he can mass the hand cannons up and keep them alive, then he's got the potential for some pretty big damage there. The orange player, Remy, the Brits, starting to add in some long swordsmen. It's not very often that you actually see long swordsmen in action, but there they go. Two-handed swordsman now just being researched, and those Mayan elite eagles get cut down pretty quickly by the swordsman there. Their counter, of course, being the heavy swordsman line. Well, one of their counters, I guess, being the heavy swordsman line, doing a pretty good job of defending. And these elite eagles dealt with pretty quickly, actually. Not a huge number of kills. In fact, so far, Winchester killing 44 units, but losing 55. It's not like he's made some insane gains here, and it's not like they're pressured, all the way back to the corner of the map or something. They're still putting up a pretty good fight, and PL are reacting reasonably well here. Kep 4 coming in with those knights now, and he's up to the Imperial Age, but he can probably be switching his army composition pretty soon. Those knights, of course, going to be supporting these rams from Winchester as Winchester tries to take down this castle. The Korean player going for the war wagons, and of course to do that you need a pretty big eco. Meanwhile, DFS in the corner of the map now, getting a few villager kills in this wood line. Nicely done by him with those crossbows, +2 attack and range is done. But looks like so far DFS still keeping up the sling. He's not really going all out into military or anything like that. And let's just quickly check. Oh, he is on the way up now to the Imperial Age. So everyone now up to Imperial, aside from WiC Warrior on this left side, who obviously had a pretty slow castle time as well. He's going to click up to Imp in just a sec though, so he's not too far behind. But the majority of the action at the moment on this right-hand side. Winchester now with 100 HP on these elite eagles, which means his unique technology is done, and that's what we want to see. Once they get that little bit of extra HP, 40 HP is, a considerable amount. That's a lot of extra HP to just be suddenly put onto every single eagle you make. So he's going to be doing a lot more damage now that that upgrade is done. However, the champions here from Remy just being upgraded from two-handed swordsmen, and they are going to be able to put a stop to this pretty quickly if they get massed up. Of course, the upgrades at the moment are in favor of Winchester still. He hasn't got the +4 attack upgrade yet, but he has got +4 defense. However, with the castle fire here, with the champions sitting under it, it looks like Winchester's going to be forced back. And this castle will stay up for now as Jamjack repairs it as fast as he can. So a nice attempted push there. However, they are getting a few kills over here on this gold pile. Bitey Cablum losing that. And on the south, it looks like these guys are being pushed right back now as Bitey Cablum, the green player, masses those hand cannons and starts bringing in those bombard cannons as well. PL Jack also going for the elite eagles, it seems. He's nearly into the Imperial Age now, but he's going to be getting some food sent to him in a tribute from the Saracen player. And oh, nice mangonel shot though. Warrior there definitely one of the best mangonel shots we've seen this game, getting about 8 hand cannons. That is so much value right there. But it looks like Winchester's coming down here now to try and help out. If he can snipe these bombard cannons, that would be very worthwhile to his team. But the castle from Kep 4 going down pretty quickly here. Winchester having to divert his attention. Unfortunately, though, going to be running into those hand cannons. And those hand cannons will just clean house. They're going to clean up those elite eagles. They're going to mop them up, clean the floor, wipe the floor with them, because hand cannons have that fantastic attack bonus against infantry, which just leaves the infantry dead, very quickly. Looking very, very bad at the moment in the south for the Don't Lame Us Please team, but in the north they are still kind of holding out for now. However, Jamjack and Remy have pushed out of their base, out of this defensive position that they were in just a moment ago, and Jamjack's starting to mass up those war wagons now. We have a look at his castles. We can see if the elite upgrade is on the way, but no, it is not. At the moment, he is, well, actually still trying to deal with these Arbalests from DFS. We've not actually seen that much from DFS this game, but he is going into Arbalests now, and he's got them right at the back of Jamjack's base, killing perhaps a few villagers back here, definitely killing some in this wood line, and just generally being a nuisance over in that area of the map. However, these war wagons from Jamjack are starting to get massed up now. Once they go elite, it's going to be a really difficult force to stop. I mean, the elite war wagon's so tanky, has a lot of health, a reasonably large amount of damage output as well, and although they're very expensive, I think they're a little bit comparable to a war elephant in a sense. They're not quite as tanky as a war elephant, but when they're massed up and they've got a bit of a meat shield in front of them, they are incredibly strong. Just waiting to see the siege onagers now as we get the Vic Warrior up to the Imperial Age as well. Last but not least, he is the one who will hit the Imperial Age last. But this is nice. We've got a battle raging in 2 parts of the map at the moment. Remy and Jamjack pushing right forwards into the middle of the map here. In the south, the Don't Lame Us Please team seem to be a little bit on the back foot as well. These castles from Kep 4 are going down, and the problem with that is that castles really aren't replaceable. Like, you know, they're not lightly lost. You really don't want to be losing them if you can help it. And 3 castles here from Kep 4 going to be falling. That's a really costly amount of stone, and something that you just don't want to see happen. However, these guys pushing into a wall of elite eagle warriors, wall of hand cannons and skirmishes as well. The Mamelukes here not really lasting too long by the looks of it. And those mangonels from Vic Warrior getting focused down by PL Jack. Very good value for money there. Trading a few elite eagles for 3 or 4 mangonels. Definitely very valuable. And wow, Vic Warrior killing his own units here by the looks of it. Oh dear, not good. Gotta be very careful with your mangonels so that they don't end up suiciding a bunch of your own units. On the right side, we've got a bunch of Arbalests out for Vic DFS though, and of course those Arbalests are a perfect counter to the champions of Remy. It's just the Koreans now that are going to be a big threat and a big problem here. We might see more plumed archers from Vic Winchester, but you know, the Eagles at this point just cannot stand up to the champions. However, you know, if DFS takes those champions out, then we might actually see some kind of leverage for these elite eagles to do some work here. These elite war wagons now for Jamjack just sitting behind this castle though. They're going to sit in the shadow of that castle and just pile out the damage. 9+4 attack. It's not, you know, it's not huge. It's obviously more than an Arbalest, but they have a pretty nice, well, pretty good amount of pierce armor and 200 health, so really tanky, kind of difficult to deal with. Then they're going to definitely be able to take quite a few siege onager shots before they go down. PL Jack, though, getting in here with those elite eagles of his own, and the PL team at the moment are looking good. They're gaining ground on both areas of the map where there are conflict. Although the Britain archers with so much range here, allowing Vic DFS to start taking down this castle from Jamjack in the center. But like I say, in the south it's not looking so good with PL Jack and Bitey Kablum pushing forwards. It looks like there's a hole here as well, although there actually isn't. This tree, 40 wood left on that tree, but if this tree gets taken down, then these guys will be able to make it through here. So definitely worth keeping an eye on that. Of course, this gate at the moment will probably want to remain locked, so these guys cannot run through, because once you get elite eagles into your economy, it can be very difficult to get them back out again. Trade is starting for both teams at this point in time as well. We've got trade at the back here, and trade at the back for the PL team as well. But this here is looking a little bit better now for the Don't Lame Us Please team. I mean, they started off reasonably well. They got pushed right back, but now there's Arbalester in play. Those champions from Remy are not going to be, picking off quite as many units as they once were. It's just the war wagons now, and I think the only real way to deal with war wagons is just masses of units, and maybe a little bit of siege as well, because they do really, take a lot to bring down. A really big force there. And Jamjack holding on to that ground as Remy seems to crumble. I mean, he doesn't seem to have that many units at the moment. In fact, that castle there getting denied as well on that right side. It's pretty painful to see that happen. Remy going to try and keep that one alive. And at the moment, Remy is quite low on population, actually. I wonder what he's doing. He's still doing champions. He's researching hoardings now, which will, of course, add more HP to his castles. But on this south side, more castles are going down for Kep at the moment. And if we have a quick look at that military tab, Jamjack so far, 208 kills to 98 losses. Not bad at all. Winchester, 260 kills, but 345 losses for Winchester so far. Kind of a bad trade for him, a bad amount of units to be losing. But he did do quite a lot of damage early on. The question is, how long can these guys keep it up for? Of course, if that trade starts to really get rolling, then we can keep seeing gold units coming out, and no one will have to, rely on trash. At the moment, though, these guys are starting to, the Don't Lame Us Please team, starting to take down these castles, starting to make a little bit of a push back. And in fact, these siege rams from Winchester now coming in, and I think that's a really good idea. The siege rams here will be able to tank quite a lot of this arrow fire from the war wagons. The war wagons doing pierce damage, so those siege rams there will be able to tank quite a lot. And if they stay in front of the army here, then perhaps these arbalests can move forwards and start taking those war wagons down. But yeah, really not a great deal of war wagons being lost so far. But it looks like those rams may just be going for the trebs here. Of course, if those trebuchets go down, that's a pretty big deal. However, Remy coming in with those champions there, going to try and stop that from happening. It looks like the treb may just fall though, actually. They're going to get one more hit and they'll be gone. Both trebs lost for Remy, and Remy's going to scramble to take those rams down now. But looks like ground is starting to be gained by the Don't Lame Us Please team. This gate down here has gone down though, and the bombard cannons on the hill here from WiC Group starting to take down the castles and these bombard towers and all of that stuff as well. And in fact, we've got the onager upgrade now for Vic Warrior here. That's a lot of onagers. Is he doing the siege onager upgrade? I'd like to see it. I want to get on the siege onager hype this game. I was hoping we'd see it already, but not just yet. It's gonna be on the way though. I can feel it. I feel it. It's gonna be here eventually. Have to love the siege onager. That's a lot of hussars there though from the green player. A ton of hussars coming in at the moment as they just crumble in an instant to those Mameluke. This Mameluke with 130 health, and they are laying down the damage. Kep 4, fantastic play in the south here, comboing those hussars with the Mameluke, able to do a unreal amount of damage over here. And of course, once these eagles get cleaned out, then these onagers can come in behind and start taking down these hand cannons and these skirmishes. Unfortunately, though, not enough from Kep there. They pushed them back, but they did lose the castle in the process. The onagers coming in now, though, and those 8+1 range onagers, they're going to be piling on the damage even to these units. But the bombard cannons focusing them down, and the onagers just don't really seem to last all that long at this point in time, with Vic Warrior losing them a little bit faster than he perhaps would like, which is rather unfortunate for him to say the least. But it's looking reasonably good for the PL team at the moment. They seem to be holding on to the ground that they gain, and they never seem to be pushed right back. So it does seem like the PL team are getting more of an advantage as they go on, especially as these bombard towers start to fall from Vic Warrior. And Vic Warrior rebuilding his eco right at the back here actually as well. And I kind of doubt that he's going to have Siege Onagers on the way out soon. Just Onagers for now. But whoa, Siege Onager is being researched. It's on 85%, and this could do a lot of damage on this right side. If Kep can keep those hussars coming out, then the Siege Onagers here could be huge. They're going to start laying down the damage. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map though, it's still looking good for PL. Those elite war wagons certainly seem a little bit further forward than the last time we saw them, but the castles have disappeared. And yeah, it's kind of an interesting game. We've got like a 2v2 on both sides, which is how my ultimate 4v4s are, really. Those Siege Onagers that are now done. And we're kind of keeping an eye on Vic Warrior here to see if he can, you know, lay down some more damage. He is missing that final +2 attack, though, range even. So Vic Warrior perhaps not making the most out of these Siege Onagers that he could. They can go up to 10 ranges, the Koreans. And unfortunately not getting an angle yet, but this will certainly slow down the advance of PL if they can keep those Siege Onagers in there. Meanwhile, in the center of the map, I want to keep flicking between each two battles. Jamjack looking a little bit thin on the ground with his war wagons now. He's obviously lost some over time, but over here on the right side, a kind of flank attack coming in. Fantastic stuff. There's bombard towers going up right there, and that castle going to start taking, that trebuchet, sorry, going to start taking the castle down from DFS. So a fantastic little flank attack there from Mr. Jamjack. Very well played. We've got Kep at the moment sending resources to Warrior, and it doesn't seem like Vinchester's got much army left at the moment. He seems to be running units in, and then those units seem to be subsequently dying pretty quickly. DFS managing to keep his Arbalest alive for quite some time though. If we have a quick look at his military stats, DFS has managed to kill 253 units, only losing 110 so far. So his kill to death ratio is insane. Obviously the more that Winchester can tank, the more that these Arbalests can do from range, and they're doing a lot of damage, that is for sure. Siege ramps coming in now in the south though, and it still looks like PL is slowly but surely gaining ground, but you know, more bombard towers coming up from Vic Warrior as well. And at the moment, everybody is paying tribute to Mr. Vic Warrior at the moment, as obviously the Koreans are a really strong late-game powerhouse. We've seen just how much longevity these elite war wagons from Jamjack have in the center of the map. Remy, the Britain player, still just running his champions to their deaths, but they must be doing some damage because he has got 280 kills. However, he has just hit 400 losses, so those champions perhaps not the best, but at this point in time, it's almost like he's overcommitted in a sense. And Mr. Remy does not seem to be producing any archers, which is unusual, but hey, there you go. On the south, they're pushing right out though, and this huge bloodbath on the floor there, all of those dead bodies and broken onagers. However, they are pushing right back. This is really good play from Warrior and from Kep 4. They managed to regain this ground, and that's huge at this point in time. Of course, I don't think they would have done it without the sling from the other players. Obviously, DFS sending a bunch of resources to Warrior there, but they have pushed it back, which is kind of, you know, no small deal here in the south. They are pushing, and they will try and take down these military production buildings pretty quickly as well. We got a lot of hand cannons out from Warrior here, and I can't help but feel that that perhaps helped to turn the battle around. Those elite eagles dying pretty quickly to the hand cannons there from Warrior. In the center though, it's another story altogether. PL really starting to gain more and more ground here, but these siege onagers from Warrior are starting to come in, and of course those siege warriors won't kill a war wagon. They only do 75 damage. I say that as like only, but it will take a few shots for them to start taking those war wagons down, but those shots won't take too long to pile up, because once you've got 2 or 3 onagers there, they will be doing some serious damage. But these guys really want to hold on to this on this right side. We've got fortified walls on both the Briton and the Mayan player to prevent these guys getting through, and obviously those castles there now under fire as well from the Trebs. of Jamjack. But Jamjack's lost his castle on this right side. Obviously, these trebuchets here from DFS were deployed to take that down, and that was a pretty good move from Jamjack over there, but it is no more. These arbalests from DFS are just doing so much damage. DFS at the moment was score leading the game. Obviously, Winchester just retaking that lead slightly, but he really is doing a great job over here. And those bombard cannons just going to slow the advance of PL, whilst in the south, don't lame us please. Start taking out these military production buildings, prevent them from building units behind them as they advance, and of course roll forwards with these siege onagers. Just waiting to see some huge siege onager hits here, and it's bound to happen eventually because it always happens when the siege onagers on the field. The army from the green player just seems to have disintegrated. It seems to be gone, and I'm not quite sure where it's gone, but it's not there anymore. He's starting to add a lot of hussars in, but other than that, we're not really seeing a lot from him at all. And, you know, he's running the occasional hussar forwards, but of course the hussars so nicely countered by the Mamelukes at this point in time. And those siege onagers still trying to do more and more damage as well. These guys just seem to be holding out now, and that's really impressive from Don't Lame Us Please. They're putting in a fantastic fight in the south. In the north, though, we've got a few eagles here from Jack, the teal player. Of course, those eagles now getting right up in the faces of DFS's arbalest. DFS has been king of the north for too long. His KD is insane at the moment. 360 units killed to 168 lost. That's pretty nuts. But these castles are starting to fall, and we're starting to see onagers from Jamjack as well, which makes me think the siege onager is probably on the way, and it is. We've got another siege onager upgrade working away in that siege workshop. 38% from Jamjack on that. And these siege onagers are going to be pretty huge once they start entering the fight. The question is now, will these guys be able to hold out? Because there doesn't seem to be any castles, there doesn't seem to be any more real defenses here once these bombard towers are down. And these guys are incredibly close to their trade. You know, there's really not a lot of distance to cover if these walls get breached. However, in the south, meanwhile, in another location in this world, good old Don't Lame Us Please, with those siege rams pushing forwards with the siege onagers backing it up, and they are again making their own progress, and they are a little bit closer to the trade than the PL guys are. This wall going up here on the middle of the map, just a stone wall for now, but the wall going up there to try and prevent any running units. But of course, Kep 4 gonna get in, and he's gonna start killing some trade carts where he can as well. These guys getting dangerously close in the south. Meanwhile, in the north, they are still pushing forward, and they are still continuing to do a fantastic job. The PL team, that is. I think it's mostly Jamjack in the middle here, doing a fantastic job of keeping it up. To be honest with you, Jamjack at the moment, a huge KD, 542 units killed, just 325 units lost for Jamjack compared to that killed there. He is killing more units than anyone else in this game so far, and it's the war wagons, I'm telling you, they are just piling in the damage. Now we've got some two-handed swordsmen coming out for DFS now. He's kind of switching now into champions. It's an interesting decision. I'm not sure what I think of that, actually. I think obviously the two-handed swordsmen, or the champions when they're upgraded, will be able to do more damage to the war wagons, but they will get taken out from a further distance. So obviously a little bit awkward for DFS at the moment, while he's still sending those two-handed swordsmen in. But there's the upgrade, and we'll see if he can really do much damage with that. The war wagons will just take them down very quickly, I feel. That elite, or that siege onager, upgrade for Jamjack is now done, and he is going to be starting to onager down the Don't Lame Us Please team. And I said earlier the maximum range for the siege onagers, the Koreans, was 10. It's actually 11. My goodness, I apologize. Yeah, 11 range on the siege onagers here now. Now they've done siege engineers and all that jazz. That's pretty mad. And that is a lot of range on these guys. And oh man, Vic Warrior 4 siege onagers here. He's focusing down these war wagons. Just look at these war wagons drop. They're gonna, one more shot there, one more shot, and they're all gonna fall. That's really, really painful. My goodness me, one more shot. I swear, one more shot, and that shot is not coming. Oh, or is it? Or is it? Or is it? Oh, no, it's not. Man, I love just watching these, you know, these hot boiling lava rocks flying around. It's fantastic. But yeah, those siege, those elite eagles, those elite war wagons, sorry, are incredibly low now, and it looks like Don't Lame Us Please might just have PL on the back foot here. Of course, PL losing ground in the center of the map, but we've now got siege onagers out for the green player as well. Mighty Kaplan adding in some siege onagers now. But PL have regained the land that was rightfully theirs. I mean, once upon a time, Vic Warrior had his TC around here, but that went long ago. And the siege onagers are now out in both areas of the map. Bombard towers up for Jamjack, and man, this game is looking pretty close at the moment. I can't quite believe that it's been so stalemate for a while. It's very impressive that they've managed to do that, keep it this way for a while. But Jamjack really being MVP of this game for the PL team. It's really hard to say for the Don't Lame Us Please team quite who the MVP is. But looking at the kill to death ratio, you're probably going to have to say DFS for that one. But then again, it's looking pretty gnarly once more for Cap and Warrior in the south. It really is a very back and forth game at the moment. Warrior bringing in some more siege onagers, but he can't just go all out into onagers. He does need some hand cannons, I feel. Otherwise, those elite eagles there are going to get in and cause a whole world of hurt. I feel like, as well, in this situation, some halberdier would not be a bad decision, considering just how many hussars are out on the map. But at the moment, it seems like Warrior's killing more of Kep's units than he is of anyone else's. Those siege onagers landing some very unfortunate shots there as well. And in the center of the map, good old Jamjack still holding out. And in fact, if we have a quick look at the overall scores, Jamjack well ahead at the moment in that overall score there. But that's kind of expected from the Korean player if they get a nice boom and such. But look at this right in the north here. Good old DFS, looking for an alternative route, killing off a few villagers, trying to get in here, take out some of Jamjack's eco. And Jamjack just with a TC in the north. I think he was taking some extra gold or stone up here. Because those villagers going to die. But that team ball is still up for the PL team. They've still got that across the center of the map. But in the south, like I said, it looks very back and forth at the moment for these guys in the south. Man, those siege onagers, the Mamelukes and the siege onagers, there's so much death. The Mamelukes there, try and close the gap and focus them down, because Mamelukes will die very quickly to siege onager fire. But yeah, I mean, they're very close to the trade here. They've just not managed to really do anything yet. I don't see any raids in the trade line at all for either team. But it certainly looks like Don't Lame Us Please's trade is slightly safer at the moment. DFS now spamming some halbs. Perhaps he's a little bit low on gold, or he's either sending his gold away. Of course, Champion's pretty cheap to make. Champions are only 20 gold, so it's not like DFS can't afford Champions at this point in time. But he isn't really making any, and he's switching into halbs, which is a bit strange. However, he seems to be looking for an alternative route. Like I said, he's looking for another sort of angle here, and he's kind of focusing on this open area in this top area of the map, which has been open for the majority of the game. And a lot of rams here. Perhaps he's going to try and go for this gate and run in, because he could do that. I mean, there's nothing really stopping him from doing that, aside from perhaps the more immediate need of dealing with this. Jamjack still pushing forwards. These guys right up to their gates now. This gate with just 200 health left, and I think that's about to fall very quickly. And once that gate goes down, I mean, these trade carts are right behind here, but the main line is a little bit further back. But, you know, the question is, how long will it take for them to cover the ground? And it's probably not going to take that long. So Don't Lame Us Please really have to make sure they hold on to these gates here. They have to make sure they hold on to this area, but they're looking really thin on the ground at the moment. Jamjack obviously pushing forwards with those siege onagers. We've got a stream of hussars coming in as well. And the gate finally does fall. But there's the halberdier from Winchester as well now. And these guys are, whoa, these guys are open. Wow, Jamjack, legend that he is. Look at that, he cut through the forest. Fantastic play there, cutting through the forest, creating a flank route, sending in the Britain Arbalest now, and they are getting in there, killing off a few trade carts as well. So good use of the Siege Onager to cut through the forest. Something that you don't see that often, something that seems to be forgotten about. And in the south of the map, still a little bit of a stalemate here between Don't Lame Us Please and PL. PL just about holding on, but yeah, I mean, that's a kind of big deal there. We've got bombard towers coming up as quickly as possible for Vic Warrior. We've got units being scrambled to block up this hole, basically. And Vic Warrior here should be able to, well, these guys should be able to push this back. It seems like they've got enough here, but is that causing them to, you know, perhaps neglect another area of the map? Are there going to be less units going down here? Are there going to be less units coming over here? Potentially. It could potentially be that way. DFS coming in on this right side, though, sending his champions in. Let's just see how quickly they die. They are still alive, surprisingly, but I don't think for very long. Those champions getting cut down very quickly, doing very little damage. Simply not enough, but still the Siege Onagers from Vic Warrior still firing away. And we've got to have a look at that KD for these players. We've got so far kept for the blue players, sorry, 654 units killed and 445 lost. Winchester has killed 727 units, but he's lost 1,180. He's lost so much this game. And Jamjack has killed 1,000 units so far, only losing 589. So Jamjack definitely, like I said earlier, the MVP for PL so far. But we still don't know how this game is going. Oh, yes, we do. We know how this game is going. Vic Warrior cutting through the trees on the back, and those Mamelukes getting right into the trade line now of the PL team's trade. Sorry, Don't Lame Us Please, bringing those Mamelukes in there. They are going to have such a good time killing those trade carts. And I think, you know, PL maybe made a mistake here because PL cut through. And immediately after, it's like, Don't Lame Us Please. They had this idea. Let's cut through as well. So now we've got PL cutting through as well, and it's looking like a real nightmare for for PL. Sorry, and PL are actually going to resign right now as those trade carts get massacred in that trade line. And GG, Don't Lame Us Please going to get the first point on the board in this set, and that was a fantastic game from them. They held out in the south against what at least seemed to be against all odds. Obviously, Jack and Cablum had such a great push into here. They had Vic Warrior's main base completely gutted out. They had them right back down to their last castle. This was the last castle, you know, on the immediate front line there. They took it all down. But they managed to push back. Don't Lame Us Please, pushing back, rebuilding their castles, rebuilding their bombard towers, and holding it right about here on this hill. Meanwhile, in the north, obviously, Jamjack really pushing forwards, really holding very well, continuing to cause Don't Lame Us Please to lose ground. At one point, Don't Lame Us Please were attacking this castle here. This castle here, and they got pushed back all the way over here, right back up to their gates, and they lost the gate at one point. They were cut through the forest, but they managed to scramble enough units there to prevent the damage from being too significant, and then came straight back with their own cut into the forest of PL, cutting that down, getting into the trade, and subsequently winning the game. So very well played for the Don't Lame Us Please team, and they're going to get the first point against the PL team, which is very significant because the PL team are really strong, and I don't think the Don't Lame Us Please team probably expected to have a chance of winning this series, but after winning that first one, that chance is most definitely teal.